day everyone. So now we'll be discussing about programming ARM7 processor to control single phase inverter by varying the frequency using interrupts. So already we have discussed in detail about programming the ARM7 processor to control the chopper in time ratio control by varying the duty ratio by using the interrupt. So this program also will be similar to that, but we'll be generating two different waveforms. So one is for positive going pulse and the other one is for negative going pulse. So now let us get into the program. So as we have done in the previous case, we'll have to copy the startup.ts file, and we'll have to put it in the beginning of the program. And one more thing that you'll have to do is you'll have to put a semicolon before this IRQ handler, B IRQ handler, and subsequently all this setup PLL. So you'll be putting the semicolon because this particular part is making your frequency to go high. So to avoid the frequency, to avoid tampering with the frequency and to make the frequency to be stable, you'll have to make this instructions to go off, or you can delete it, or you can put a semicolon before it so that it will become inactive. So 315 to 339 line numbers you'll be commenting it, and then at last, after this end user mode and set its stack pointer, at this end if after this end if there will be some other instructions will be there, you will be deleting those things also. Now coming to this program, so here IO0 DIR I am initializing first, and then IO0 set, IO0 clear. These things I am initializing using the assembler directive EQU, so that inside the program, whenever I am using the word IO0 DIR, that will be replaced with the value 0xe002808. So so IO0 DIR is basically for representing the direction of the port, IO0 set is for setting it, and IO0 clear is for clearing the port pins, and T0C TCR is to mention the mode of operation of the timer, T0 PR prescaler, timer 0 prescaler, and T0 TCR the timer counter register, wherein you will be putting the values to reset the timer and starting the timer. And this is timer counter, wherein whenever the T0 PC reaches the content of T0 PR, T0 TC will be incremented by 1. So pin cell 0, that is the register wherein we'll be putting a value to specify the interrupt which interrupt I am activating and to which pin I am connecting to it will be specified in this pin cell 0. Then external mode and external polarity, so here we'll be specifying whether I am going to use a level sensitive mode or a edge sensitive, and obviously if it is a level sensitive or edge sensitive, either it is going to be active high or active low, or a rising edge active or a falling edge active. Those things I will be specifying in external mode and external polarity. Then VIC interrupt enable register, I will be enabling the corresponding interrupt using this VIC interrupt enable, and VIC interrupt select, I will be selecting whether the interrupt is going to be interrupt IRQ interrupt or FIQ interrupt. Then VIC vector control register, I will be activating the corresponding interrupt, and then VIC vector address. So here I have used VIC vector control 2 and VIC vector address 2 because I am going to use the external interrupt 2, because as mentioned in the video for this chopper, in the NGX blue board, the external interrupt 2 is connected to the switch, push button switch. So that's the reason I am using vector control 2 and vector control vector address 2. So VIC vector address, I'll be using it for clearing the address. Then external interrupt, so flag will be set when the corresponding interrupt has happened, and I'll be clearing it by putting 1 over there. So coming to the pin cell register, I am moving a value 0x8 0000000. Coming to the pin cell 0 register, let us see how we are getting this number. So pin cell 0. So this is pin cell 0. So from the value that has been specified, you can see that the 31st bit is made high. So 10 I'll have to give, so that P0.15 is connected to external interrupt 2. So external interrupt is associated with P 0.15. So I need to give the signal into this P 0.15 so that the interrupt is activated. So that is the function of this pin cell 0. And then coming to this external mode and external polarity, in both the cases I am putting 0 0. So let us see what does that signify. So I can close this one. External mode and external polarity. Okay, this is external mode. So I have invariably put all the values as 0. So obviously level sensitivity I have chosen. So in case if I am putting 1 in the corresponding bits, that particular interrupt will get the edge sensitivity. So I don't need the edge sensitivity, so I am using it with level sensitivity. Then coming to this polarity, if it is 0 then it is low active, if it is 1 then it is a high active. So I am putting all the values as 0, so my interrupt will get activated when it is low. So in case if edge sensitivity is chosen, so this will have like a falling edge. So if 1 has been pressed, then it is rising edge will activate the interrupt. Okay, so that is the explanation for external mode and external polarity. Then coming to this VIC interrupt enable register. So on that you can see that 1 2 3 4 5, the fifth digit I am making it as 1. Okay, this is VIC interrupt enable register. So I have said that I need to activate the external interrupt 2. So external interrupt 2 has been given to this 16 bit. So 16 bit you can see that is like this is the first digit, second digit, third and fourth, and this fifth. So in the fifth digit the 16th bit is having the value of 1. So that's the reason I am putting 0x0001 and 0000. So VIC interrupt enable, I am activating this external interrupt 2. Then VIC interrupt select, I am giving all the values as 0, so that my interrupt is behaving like a IRQ and interrupt, not FIQ. So this is VIC interrupt select. So if I am making it as 1, that becomes FIQ. So this register classifies each of the 32 requests as contributing to FIQ or IRQ. So if I am putting 1, then it is FIQ. If I am putting 0, then it is IRQ. So as far as this is concerned, I am putting 00000. So it becomes IRQ. Then coming to this VIC vector control 2. So so this is the vector control register, and you have separate vector control register for each and every um, external interrupt. So we are using this external interrupt 2, so that's the reason we are using VIC vector control 2. So its internal configuration is in such a way like 0 to 4th bit you will be using the number of the interrupt request, and the 5th one you will be using it for IRQ. slot enable. So as far as this number is concerned, your external interrupt 0 has the number of 14. So that's equivalent number is E in hexadecimal. Then F will have external interrupt 1. Then correspondingly, when you increment that one, it becomes like 10. After F, it is 1 0. So when it is coming as 1 0, so the fourth bit will be 1, and the fifth bit is also 1. So fourth and fifth bit, when it is becoming 1, so it gives the value of 3. So that's the reason we are putting it as 30 for VIC vector control 2. So VIC vector address 2, I am initializing with the IRQ handler. So this means that whenever the interrupt is executed, it has to my program counters content has to jump to this IRQ handler. Wherever the label IRQ handler is there, it should go there. Then IO0 DIR. So direction register, I am making it as FFFF, so that all the output pins, I mean all the pins of port 0 is behaving like a output port. Then MOV R4 comma hash 0x0A. So this is, I am initializing the R4 with the value of A. So inside the program, inside the delay routine, this R4 value will be active as like it will be giving 10 millisecond as like 50 hertz while normally operating, and when interrupt is being generated, the frequency will change to 100 hertz. So to change it to 100 hertz, the value of this R4 is changed to 5. So this is the main program. So here LDR R9 comma equal to IO0 set, and R10 I am putting a value of IO0 clear. So as I have already explained, IO0 set in the sense the assembler directive, whatever I have initialized earlier. So the value of this memory address 0xe00280004 will be moved into this R9 register. So that's the meaning. R10 will have the address of IO0 clear. Then I am clearing the content of R7 and R8. So R7 and R8 I am going to use it for the internal operation. The internal purpose is R7 and R8 I will be manipulating to get output from port 0.1 and port 0.2. So here I have used a exclusive instruction of R. So R means it does the operation of logical R with the registers that has been mentioned. So here what happens is R7 I am having a value of 0. So towards the R7 I am having the content of 1 shifted left by 1 to do OR and put the value inside the R7. So here the hash 1, that is the number that is shifted left by 1 times, and the value is stored inside R7, and the content is OR, and ORed between the shifted number and this R7, and the result is placed inside this R7. So here hash 1 is the immediate value that has been shifted by 1 time, and the content is ORed with R7. So R7 is having a value of 0. So anything is ORed with R7, the content will become like equivalent to whatever the value that we are ORing it with the 0. So R7 will have 0x02, because like when you shift it left by 1 times, so it gets placed inside the the place where it has the value of 2. So again with the R8 I am using the instruction ORR R8 comma hash 1 SHL2. So 2 times the 1 is shifted, so and that is logically ORed with R8, and the result is stored inside R8 again. So so it becomes like 4, and the result stored inside R8 is 4. So this is one way of manipulating the bit. So if you, in case if you want, you can use IO0 pin itself. IO0 pin you can move, say like 0x01 and 0x02 and 0x04 subsequently to put the values inside R8. So since I'm using this IO0 set and IO0 clear, so I need to clear it and set it accordingly. So that's the reason here the manipulation has been done in this way. So R7 value, so R7 is supposed to be 2, that I am putting it in the IO0 set, and R8 is having a value 4, that I am putting it inside the IO0 clear register. So your uh, the port pin P 0.2 will be having 0, while port pin P 0.1 will be having 1. So obviously you can understand what is the requirement. As far as a inverter is concerned, a positive going pulse initially should be having in one switch, while the other switch should be other group of switch should be turned off. So that is being done using this bit manipulation technique. And after that, I'm calling this BL delay will happen for 10 millisecond, as we have specified R4 as A. Then again I'm clearing the content of R7 and R8. Then you can see over here R7 is loaded with SHL2, so 4 is loaded into R7 and 2 is loaded into R8. So R7 content is moved into this IO0 set. So now IO0 set will be 4, while IO0 clear will be 2. So obviously you can understand the reversal of the thing that is happening over here. So the switches that was getting on will be getting off in this case. That's it. And after doing this, again I'm calling the delay. So then again branch main. So this will run without any stop unless and until we press the stop button or any other buttons. So coming to this delay subroutine, so as we have seen earlier, so since we are using this interrupt, so we need to store the content of link register into R6. So that I am doing it initially, and I'll be popping it back into the link register at the end of the subroutine. So this subroutine, as we have discussed earlier, the same thing, T0 CTCR will be putting 0x0, so your timer will act in the timer mode, and T0 PR I'm putting 0x0 BB7, so that prescaler is designed for 1 millisecond, and then T0 TCR I'm putting a value of 2, so that my timer counter is reset, and T0 TCR I'm making it as 1. So now the timer starts to count. So after the timer has started to count, so I'm initializing this T0 TC into R2, then I am reading the content of T0 TC into R3. So R3 content I am comparing it with R4. R4 I have initialized with a value of A. So initially, so this A and this R3 will be compared, and this will be running and when the content of R3 becomes equivalent to A, this comes out of the loop, and R5 I am initializing 0x0, and that I am putting it into T0 TC and T0 TCR, that marks the end of the timer operation, and then I am popping the content of R6 into LR, then BXLR. So obviously I am returning back to the main routine after this subroutine is over. Then coming to this interrupt service routine, so SUB LR LR hash 4. So this hash 4 is the offset that we have to give, so that when the interrupt service routine is complete, it exactly goes back to the original point from where it has jumped to. Then MOV R4 hash 0x05. This is the point that we are much more concerned with. So the other things are all like instructions for initializing the interrupt. So MOV R4 hash 0x05. As I have already mentioned, the R4 is the key register which decides the frequency. So here you can see the compare R3 with R4, and the initialization R4 with A has happened. So after this, in R2 I am initializing VAC vector address. So R1 I am initializing 0x0. The content of R1 I am moving to vector address, so that this vector address is cleared, and the external interrupt I am moving 0x04. So this 0x04 I am moving to clear the external interrupt 2. So that also we can see it once. So here you can see external interrupt, so 0 for external interrupt 0, and first bit for external interrupt 1, and the second bit is for external interrupt 2. So this will have the equivalent value of 4, 8421. So 8, 4, 2 and 1. So we are giving 4, so that this bit is cleared. This is generally a flag register, interrupt flag register. So since we have completed the operation of interrupt over here itself, so you know that as far as this program is concerned, the interrupt should change the value of R4. The R4 changing has been done, so we have done with the interrupt, so we are returning back. So before returning back, I'll clear the flag, clear the vector address, and then leave back to the main program. So that I have done over here. So then BXLR means return to the main routine. So this is the explanation for this program. So let us run and see, translate, build and rebuild. Okay, so you can see now the waveform is obtained. So as we have already discussed, P 0.15. So let me check the frequency over here. It's 10. 10 means 10 for half cycle, so 20 for full cycle, so obviously 50 hertz. So let me run it again. So now I'll activate the interrupt. So now you can see the change that is visible. So now let us check what is the frequency time delay for this one. So you can see it is 5 millisecond. So we have achieved the 100 hertz change by using the interrupt. Okay, now in case if you are finding it difficult to understand this bit manipulation, then obviously you can use the IO0 pin. So to use the IO0 pin to use this IO0 pin, we need to initialize the IO0 pin memory address. So that I have done. IO0 pin EQU0XE002800. So I'll change the program pattern. So here what I can do is I can change these things, and I can make this IO0 set as IO0 pin, then I can make like MOV also I can use, MOV R7 I can use, R7 comma hash 0x02. So that goes into the IO0 pin, and this is not required. And then same thing I can use it over here. So okay, so this one I'll put it as 4. So 2 is for the second pin, that is like port P 0.1, and 4 is for port 0.3. Okay, now let us check the output. Okay, so as we have seen earlier, we are getting the same output, you can see comfortably. And frequency is obtained as 10 millisecond, that you can see. Again I'll run, and interrupt is being generated, then I'll stop it again. So you can see 5 milliseconds. So from 50 hertz the frequency of the inverter has been changed to 100 hertz. So again, if you want to bring it back to 50 hertz, you can click this reset. So you can see that it is getting changed. Again, you can use it for changing to 100 hertz. So reset for 50 hertz and interrupt for 100 hertz. So this is the explanation for the program. And coming to the hardware, so when you are putting this this particular program into the processor board, you need to find out from which pin you will have to take the output. So for that, let me get into the blue board schematics. So this is the blue board schematics. So we are now supposed to take the output from port 0.1 and port 0.2. So here 0.1 is connected to P0 underscore A1 and 0.2 is connected to P0 underscore A2. So we'll have to find out over here in the J1, J2, J3, J4 connection P0 underscore A1 and P0 underscore A2. So here so you can see the fifth pin of J2, you can see P0 underscore A1. So you can take the output from P0 A1 and the second pin, that is the fifth and second pin of J2, you can connect it to the CRO probe to see the first output, and the sixth and ninth you can connect it to check the second output. So for the negative going pulses, you can see it from sixth and ninth. Okay, now let us see the output in the hardware. Okay, regarding the interrupt, so we have used the external interrupt. So we need to know which external interrupt is being connected to the push button. So here in this NGX board, we can find out which interrupt is being connected. So here external interrupt 1 is being connected. So here it is specified as external interrupt 1, but you can see EINT1 that is connected over here is connected to P0.15, that is internally that is connected with external interrupt 2. So you shouldn't be confused, like since it has been represented as external interrupt 1, you will be initializing the pin cell and initializing the external interrupt 1. So external interrupt 2 has to be initialized as far as this internal LPC2148 is concerned. External interrupt 1, that is concerned with only the outer circuit layout. So for representing the circuit layout, this label has been given. So this doesn't have anything to do with the internal external interrupt. So internal external interrupt we'll have to design for external interrupt 2 only. So this EINT1 is connected, you can see, through this particular circuitry. So voltage is being connected with a 10K, and you have this push button, and that is being connected to the ground. So when the push button is open, so the voltage will be given to the external interrupt 2, so that it will be on. We have to make the external interrupt in such a way, like it has to get active when it is low and the signal is low. So here that is the way in which the circuit has been designed. So always the voltage will be fed into this external interrupt 2, so it will be always high. So when it is high, the external interrupt shouldn't get activated, and when the push button is pressed, this voltage goes into the ground. So this external interrupt 1 and subsequently this external interrupt 2 will be getting a 0. So when it is going low, the external interrupt has to be activated. That is the procedure that we'll have to adopt. Okay. Now I'm going to convert the file to hex code. The ASM file star.as. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you how to convert the ASM file to hex code. So you click on this options for target. In options for target, in the output, you click this create hex file, and the name of the executable file will be created like whatever the file name that you have given for creating the project. So you can navigate it and check where it is being saved using this select folder for objects button. So there you can see conv.hex has been created. So this has been created already since I have done the procedure of translate, build and rebuild. So now I am going to do the translate, build and rebuild. So now the file conv.hex has been created. So that file I am going to dump. So I am using this FlashMagick software for dumping the code. So here I will select LPC 2148, then COM port will be COM1 and 9600 should be the baud rate, and interface should be none ISP and oscillator frequency should be 12. So in the options, click this advanced options and click this hardware config, check this USDTR and RTS and keep RTS asserted while COM port open. So T1 and T2 should be 100 and 200 milliseconds respectively. Then in timeouts you click this use my timeout for ISP operations and click OK. Now browse and conv.hex is the file that I have to dump. So I'll open it. Now I am dumping the code. I am connecting the RS-232 and now started and the program is getting dumped. You can see. Okay, so now as explained earlier, the port pins that is being used is P0.1 and 0.2, that is P0_A1 and P0_A2. So that is available in J2 of you can see P0_A1 is 5th and P0_A2 is 6th pin. So from 5th and 2nd I can connect one probe, and 6th and 9th I can connect the next probe. So now I'll connect the first probe to 5th and 5th and 2nd. And 2nd and 6th and 9th. 6th and now you can see the waveform that has been generated. So two waveforms has come. Okay, so you can see both the waveform is having exactly 180-degree phase shift. You can see that this is on time. When this is on, this one is having off. So when this is on, you can see the off is there. So now we'll implement the interrupt. So So you can see when I press the interrupt, the frequency has got increased. So I'm pressing the reset. So you can see initially the 10 millisecond is there. So approximately one full cycle is having, one half cycle is having 10 milliseconds. So it is 50 hertz. And when I press the interrupt button, so you can see that it has changed to 5 millisecond. 5 millisecond. So it is 100 hertz. So I'm using this interrupt to change between 50 hertz to 100 hertz. That's it. Thank you.